Hey guys, really serious report that just came out about the Suns owner Robert Sarver, and we have heard that this report was going to be coming out for a while, and it finally just dropped on ESPN, and it's a big one, and it reminds me a lot of when the Clippers owner Donald Sterling got caught on an audio recording using racist language. And Adam Silver, one of the first things he did was he made the Clippers owner sell the team. And who ended up buying it was, of course, his name is slipping my mind, and it's a household name that I could remember anytime. And his name, of course, is Steve Ballmer. And he's been a great owner. And so the thing is that Robert Sarver, first, I'm going to break down what exactly this report said about Robert Sarver, and then I will tell you what I think is going to happen. So basically, we've known that Robert Sarver is a horrible owner, both just cheap on the basketball side and just a bad dude. We've known that for years. It's been an open secret. It was also an open secret that Donald Sterling was a racist and a bad owner for years, until something happened, a big moment, nothing was done about it, right? And so could this be the big moment for the Suns and Robert Sarver? So what this report basically lays out is several different times when Robert Sarver crossed the line, way more than crossed the line. And I think the big one that stuck with me was that when he was talking about hiring a new head coach, there was Lindsey Hunter, who they ended up hiring in 2013 as their coach. But the other candidate was Dan Marley. And Dan Marley is a legendary Suns player. He ended up being the head coach, I believe, at Grand Canyon University. But the point is that Dan Marley is white, Lindsey Hunter is black. And what he said for his justification was these, and this is horrible, the Suns owner said these N-words need an N-word as a head coach. They'll listen to him. That's what he actually said when justifying why he hired Lindsey Hunter over Dan Marley. These N-words need an N-word to coach them, or else they won't listen. I mean, that's beyond awful. And not only that, like, that's just one of the things that he did or said. If you go read the report, I just read the whole thing. It's really long, but like there's like 10 different incidents just like that. And his lawyers, Robert Sarver's lawyers, have a response to every single allegation. So the way that this ESPN report goes is it'll tell you what is being alleged, and then right underneath that, it'll have the Robert Sarver's lawyers responding to it, right? So they have a justification for every single time. The point is the dude obviously is a scumbag, right? And so now the question is, will the NBA force him to sell? So what ended up happening with Donald Sterling was his girlfriend at the time, even though he was married, recorded him talking, and he said all of this, awful stuff. And so Adam Silver, one of his first things as commissioner, he banned Donald Sterling for life. And he basically forced him to sell the team. By the way, he sold him for like $2.2 billion. So he really made out in the deal. And he sold them to, of course, Steve Ballmer. I don't know why I keep forgetting. But he sold him to Steve Ballmer. So the question will be everywhere. Will the NBA force Robert Sarver to sell the team? I say no. He's going to stay on as the Suns head owner. And the reason I say that is because I think it takes something like an audio recording or a video of something like this, because audio and video is that powerful. I don't think just a report of people alleging things is enough to do it, because all an alleged incident is he said, she said. That's it. So as much as this looks horrible for Sarver, honestly, it's their word against his word. You cannot ban a guy for that. You just can't. If it was video evidence, if it was audio evidence, you could do it. Do I wish he would sell the team? Yes, I wish he would sell the team. But the problem here is that the other owners of the NBA don't want to be put in this position. For example, Mark Cuban, a few years ago, there was a report about how misogynistic the Mavericks were under Cuban's leadership. Now, Cuban himself wasn't involved, but the team president was and the front office was, and it was a toxic environment working if you're a woman. Well, I mean, if you start to force Robert Sarver to sell because of a he said, she said report, then who's to say that's not going to happen down the line to next owner and the next owner and the next team owner? So what I think is the other team owners will not allow Adam Silver to do this. They will not allow him to force Sarver to sell the team. And ultimately, Adam Silver works for the team owners. Okay, guys? So when the NBA players get into contract CBA negotiations with the league, it is the NBA Players Association against the commissioner's office. Okay, so it's the players against the commissioner. Who's the commit? The team owners. Okay, it's the owners against the players. That's it. And so Adam Silver is on the side of the team owners as much as he's a players commissioner. I know that. The fact is that he works for those team owners. So ultimately, the team owners are going to make this decision, not Adam Silver. And the team owners will not allow that to happen because it could come back and happen to them. I'm not saying it's right. In fact, I think it's wrong. But if all it takes to get someone banned is alleged incidents and alleged misconduct without proof, without physical proof, then that's just too low of a bar. Because if that's the case, all of their ownerships are in jeopardy at some level, right? And especially with these billionaires, they act and talk, they have gigantic egos. They act like the rules don't apply to them anyway. So a lot of them have probably done sketchy things or said sketchy things, right? So they don't want to put themselves in that position to be forced to sell. So they will not have it happen to Robert Sarver, even if they don't like the guy. They would be doing it to protect their own butts. And so what do I think the reaction from the players is going to be? So that's going to be the next thing is, what are the Suns players going to do, right? So I believe this is the way it's going to play out. This report is going to be all over the internet, all over TV. It's going to look horrible. There's going to be an investigation, I believe, because there's always investigations whenever these things happen. So the league is going to be asked, are you going to force him to sell? And Adam Silver says, we're going to conduct a full investigation, okay? And they're going to do that. And then after the investigation, Adam Silver will ultimately come out and he'll say, look, I don't like this. None of us like this, but we just didn't find our investigation enough to rise to the level of forcing him to sell. So for now, no, Robert Sarver is still the owner of the Phoenix Suns. That's what is going to happen. Investigation, he won't be forced to sell. And then the next thing that'll happen is the response from the players. And if one thing we've seen from the NBA players, it's that they're not afraid to speak up. The NBA players are not afraid to protest games. Even the Milwaukee Bucks protested a playoff game, which is huge. Protest games. They're not afraid to have sort of visual protests in terms of the shirts that they wear. You remember the Donald Sterling thing. All of the Clippers players wore the shirts. We've seen LeBron and other players with I Can't Breathe shirts. So I think the players will come out, and who knows how big it could get, because especially the environment that we're in right now, players feel and are more empowered than they ever have been. I don't know how far the players will actually go to force Sarver to sell the team. Could we see a new level of player protest? Could we see all players across the league sitting out until he sells? What if that happened? I know that sounds crazy, but like I could actually see something that intense and that serious happening from a player standpoint, because ultimately, again, they're going to do an investigation. Will not force him to sell the team. I am sure of that. And then what will the players' response be? And the players' response could be huge. But I think this is going to take months to play out, because ultimately the investigation is going to come first, and the investigation will take a long time. So we'll see what happens, guys. Anyway, I was going to read comments, but the very first comment that I read was from Will, and that's weird. All right, Nicotine loves the take. Honestly, it's not, I guess it's a take, but I just think it's the truth. It's what's going to happen, right? So there you go. All right, guys. That is it. And that is what I think is going to happen. That's my full reaction. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you at 5 p.m. for a very good AM Hoops video, if I might say so myself.